What is up, Los Angeles, and welcome back to your Rams LAFB show. I'm your host, Ryan Anderson, joined with me, Erin Coscarelli, here to talk some draft rumors. Erin Coscarelli, how are we doing on this weekend, this President's Day / Valentine's Day weekend?
Yeah, what a weekend it's been. Valentine's Day. Did you get a nice Valentine, hopefully?
No, no, I did not. I hung out with my boys on Friday night, and we had a little fire in my backyard on purpose, and then I watched the Mel Brooks documentary yesterday.
How good is that documentary? It's like a two-parter.
Yeah, two-parter. I watched like almost 4 hours of it. I love that guy. He can do no wrong in my eyes. I love so many of his movies.
He's just a risk taker, right? He kind of like, was so good at pushing the envelope with serious topics and making it funny. But because he did it and see, I feel like there's a delay now. Is there a delay? Here we go.
You were looking fine to me.
Oh, okay. All right. I'm still the PTSD here. We won't not have PTSD until, who knows, going into well after the draft, I'm sure. And I think too, the rain gods, when it's like the weather's inclement for some reason, it affects the internet. I don't know. Anyways, Mel Brooks, he's amazing. Legend, just awesome in all the ways.
Yeah, 100%. And I everybody when I was growing up was always telling me what a great filmmaker and comedian he was. Yeah. And so I'm watching this documentary, and I was surprised to find out that a lot of his stuff was panned by critics and whatnot. So
really?
Yeah. But but he prevailed, and now he's 90. He's going to turn 100 years old.
That's insane.
And speaking of 100 years old, we actually have some Rams news. We're going to talk about one of these draft rumors, but they did hire Robert Wright from the University of Syracuse, the Big Orange. He's a linebackers coach and co-defensive coordinator. He's called a rising star on the Syracuse website, and he was named to the 35 under 35 from the American Football Coaches Association. So yet another addition to a growing defensive staff. And, as we talked about with the Aubrey Pleasant move, and there was another hire who is a defensive backs coach whose name I'm kind of forgetting. Yes, Michael Hunter was also hired. So growing this staff to kind of solidify a changing and evolving defensive roster, I'm sure. But let's jump into this draft rumor. Draft's coming up, combine right around the corner. But one Louis Riddick of the worldwide leader in sports, ESPN, says he's been told that the Rams like quarterback Ty Simpson. What just initial reactions to that kind of idea? He went on to say that not only is he interesting, but he thinks that Ty Simpson has what the Rams are looking for in a quarterback. So, what do you think?
Look, it begets the question I think all Rams fan and fandom want to know is, who would be the heir apparent to Matthew Stafford? What are the qualities? And if they pick a guy like Ty, what does that say about the evolution of the Rams offense? This is the stuff I find the most interesting. It's like the building blocks of how do you stay in contention? How do you compete? How do you, contend with a veteran quarterback while also having to kind of plan and scheme for what pieces you're going to put in place to essentially take over. Look, they need to get a quarterback. Are they going to get a guy in free agency, which is coming up soon? I don't think so. I mean, they can.
Yeah.
I think they want to get somebody like a Ty. What is it about Ty to you, Ryan, that you feel like you're picking up what Louis is putting down?
Well, I'll start with this. I've for a long time said the most successful path to keep a franchise afloat in the NFL is to make sure you have the most important position locked down. And currently, I would say they don't. Now, they got Jimmy G. He's not under contract. He might come back. He might not. That's up in the air. Stetson Bennett has never been elevated to the second position. The depth chart does not lie, folks. He's the third quarterback on the team. I don't know how else to tell you that. Love him, hate him, whatever, want him to compete for the job. After our conversation, there was lots of online further conversation that went on about, who should be the backup quarterback. So we got some good engagement around that.
What were they saying?
Well, every opinion was represented. Jimmy G, quality, starting quarterback in the league, viable backup, maybe bridge. Let's give Stetson Bennett a shot to compete for the role, which he's under contract. He's going to have an option to do that. And so I would, I've been for drafting quarterbacks for the last couple of years just to, roll the dice on it to see. And I'm going to bring this book out. I pulled it off my bookshelf because this is one of Les Snead's proven books that he loves, Thinking in Bets by Annie Duke. The draft and most of life is a series of bets where we're dealing with the most information we currently have. Now, one of the comments we got was, stop trying to retire Matthew Stafford. We're not telling him to go anywhere, but it's a year-to-year prospect with him just based on the contract alone. Maybe he can play for a couple more years, but he's not under contract. He said he's coming back for this one. So we got that one locked in, still waiting on the contract. So that's my thinking on this one is, let's draft a quarterback. Now, Ty Simpson is probably going to go in the first round. Is he a first round prospect? Probably not, but there are a lot of quarterback hungry teams out there, very needy teams, some desperate teams, where when you think in bets, sometimes when the desperation comes along, you're willing to take a bigger bet on a guy like Ty Simpson. So what I like about this one in particular is he's got a good mechanic base for him. So he's a good processor before the snap. He's identifying protections and coverages really well. He's got that cerebral side of the game down. He's quick through his progressions, high-end footwork. It's connected with his eyes. And that's like great early mechanics, kind of like baseline NFL stuff. And he's good in the pocket. And he can move around the pocket, and he's also mobile enough. He had about 300 yards rushing, picked up several first downs. He's not, Lenoris Sellers or Lamar Jackson or anything like that, but he can move around. Now, the one big knock on Ty Simpson is going to be he's only played 15 games. And if you go down the list of quarterbacks that have that kind of experience, you're talking about, Trey Lance, Mitch Trubisky, Dwayne Haskins, Anthony Richardson, Mark Sanchez. You can throw Kyler Murray and Cam Newton in that camp as well. And those guys have had success, but even Sam Darnold coming out of USC as well didn't play a lot of football. And that's not a who's who, but guess what? He's going to sit behind Matthew Stafford for at least 1 year if they pull the trigger on that. So they're eliminating kind of the biggest, stumbling block for that. Yeah. So, does he have, bad tendencies? Well, he doesn't have a lot of arm talent. He doesn't have Matthew Stafford's arm. So that affects his timing, his accuracy, his anticipation, not great against tight man pressure, and takes a lot of sacks because he's a processor. So I think, there's good and bad with every prospect, but at a certain point, the question, we're already in that point. What's the succession plan? Who's going to follow up Matthew Stafford? And leaving that until the 11th hour is that is bad process, I guess, is what I'll say.
Yeah. Just think of everything you just said is exactly why someone needs to get brought in to learn, get tutelage from Matthew Stafford, just with exactly like the anticipation and the timing with your receivers, right? So even just bringing someone in that's going to understand the cadence of Stafford. Now, the thing that I find most interesting is there's always been flirting rumors that McVay would love to have a dual threat kind of more mobile quarterback. Whereas obviously, Stafford doesn't need to be. He's a pretty, stays in the pocket and he's good to go. And the receivers, so I think it's going to be really interesting to see how not only, a guy like Ty Simpson is probably going to not be you got to get him in early first round, I'm saying, right? So how early do you spend your draft picks? You got 2 first rounders. And do they try to get a young guy like him or develop somebody later in the rounds? They've got to get somebody this year. Like I said it last year with Tyler Dragon. I owe him a drink because I said they're going to draft a quarterback. This is the year. They've got to learn. He's got to learn from Stafford. It's just what it is. Like, let me ask you this. I love that the audience is like, stop trying to get him to retire. But 1 year, 2 years max, right? With Stafford, like that's it after that, right?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, there's been a couple of quarterbacks that have played, past that. The results are, Drew Brees' arm fell off at a certain point. Peyton Manning's arm fell off at a certain point. Did Tom Brady regress in that final year? You could make that argument. He won the Super Bowl the year before. So there is an expiration date, and it's better to be ahead of the game than it is to be behind the game. In especially at this position, injury risk goes up the more you age. He took a couple of shots in the last couple of years that really affected his ability to play the game. So, I'm going to limit it just to a 1 year time frame prospect that I'm willing to roll. Think about. I'm thinking 1 year. I mean, with Stafford, there's so much time in between now and next year this time, so much stuff happens.
Yeah.
So so much of this league is unpredictable. So I think, and the thing we have to caveat about a prediction like this, a rumor like this, is that Louis Riddick says the Rams like Ty Simpson. The Rams also liked Brock Bowers, and they attempted to trade up for him, but they weren't going to go, I would do anything for love, but I won't do that. They weren't going to mortgage the future to get Brock Bowers. Now, should they have? I'll debate that. But, that, so they may like this guy, but where do they like him? Becomes the question. And you touched on this. And so they've got pick 13, and ahead of them at pick 13, you've got Las Vegas, who they're assuming Fernando Mendoza is going to. The Jets need a quarterback. The Cardinals probably need a quarterback. Kyler Murray's probably on the move. Tennessee's good. Giants are good. Cleveland needs a quarterback. Washington's good. New Orleans, they seem like they're probably going to be okay. Kansas City, I think they have a guy. Cincinnati, Joe Burrow's there. Miami's probably going to need a quarterback. So that's 3 to 5 teams that have the potential to draft a quarterback ahead of them. 13 for a dice roll on a guy that probably won't play maybe, let's say we won't start in 2026.
Right.
That's a high ask. And I don't think anybody's saying go for it at that. But then the next pick is at 29. And in between 13 and 29, you've got the Jets again. You've got Minnesota. Carolina's good. Dallas is good. Pittsburgh, that's a big one. Cleveland again.
Yeah, that's right.
So,
and other big needs, not necessarily, other big priorities, in no particular order, but you need to work on the secondary. The kicker, we don't know what's going on with Mevis.
You want to draft a kicker in the first round?
But it'll be interesting. What will they do And by the way, guess what? They can also trade back. That's not the other. That's the other thing. They can. This is going to be such an important draft, and I know we say that every year about every team, about every season, but this is really high IQ intel on what the Rams moving forward, the Rams of the future, are going to look like. And just because I like to always look at the layered element of it, this is Super Bowl year, and this is for the Rams being close to telling some of the stories inside the building. They are trying to equally create like buzz and intrigue off the field, which we've discussed. They do a really good job. But I really feel like if the product on the field is not high caliber, it doesn't go hand in hand. You kind of need to have a winning season to be able to take some of these swings that make sense during the season. And, I don't know. It's like you got Super Bowl coming back here in LA this year, and you're really trying to hit home runs with your fan base, with your there's still a new franchise here. So anyways, this is going to be an important year.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But
yeah. 100%.
But it feels like this one is the most.
Well, and I think, my catchphrase for it has been Stafford is the Super Bowl window. And so them capitalizing on every ounce that he still has left in him, whether that's 1, 2, 3 years, that's what they have to do, because as of right now, today, there's no plan. There's no plan. There's no plan to get, so that's why
where's your hunch? And I'd love to get people's perspective, but where are you leaning? What's your hunch? Round 1, somebody's coming off the board for a quarterback. I mean, we could have this conversation all day long.
Yeah. My hunch is middle rounds. Try a guy, try your favorite guy in round 2 or round 3. Similar to what they did with Stetson Bennett. So, in round 2, they're not picking until 61. So that's a big jump from 29. And a lot, several quarterbacks are going to come off the board. Is this the class to do that on? And then 93 in the 3rd round. Currently, that's what they have. So it's like, why even try it at that point? But, there's been guys that have made it out of later rounds. I mean, Brock Purdy is obviously the most famous example of that out there, being Mr. Irrelevant in that draft. So if I was leading the organization, if it was like, if I was at 13 and Ty Simpson was still on the board, I'd let it roll.
Really?
If Mansard Lane was still there, or Mekhi Lemon was still there, Jeremiah Love, who I love for this team, and all Golden Domer backfield would be pretty cool. But that said, if he's sitting around at 29, I mean, that's very tempting for me if I was in their shoes. Just to have an option. And I just said that, and I just immediately regretted it but this team is in a really good position where, how many players away are they from being in the Super Bowl this year? If they had a veteran depth position, a defensive line, if they had a more explosive running back, if they had one outside cornerback, so they're in a good position already. So it's, Sean McVay's champagne problems idea, I guess.
Yeah. And look, they're in a great position because whoever gets, it's like we've talked about this, how lucky Puka is, because Puka's gotten to have Cooper, and then he goes from Cooper to Devontae. You know, Terrence Ferguson has Higbee, Colby Parkinson, you know, like, and Stafford. And, you know, so this is a time to, like, you know, and it's not easy to think about the future while also planning for the present. And I'm always sort of uniquely intrigued by how do the relationships work behind the scenes when you draft Stafford's heir apparent. I had talked to Ryan Leaf about it on the show. He's like, you're not really like giving the guy all your secrets. You're trying to keep your job, but also have, you know, realize that you're also there for your ability to teach and train and coach. And that's hopefully, you know, what you should do, just as, you know, why you're there in the first place. I mean, to be in the rooms with Stafford, McVay, you know, LaFleur, all those guys during planning and all of that, it's got to be the most interesting, high level football IQ you can imagine. So I think if there's going to be a quarterback drafted, he's got to be super smart. Can you imagine I mean, what Baker did when he got brought into LA, I don't know, a week before, and he managed to figure out parts of McVay's playbook. But that's the other thing, is it's not just high character, it's and high talent and having a good arm, but it's got to be high IQ, massively high IQ. How do you go toe to toe with McVay and try to follow in the footsteps of Matthew Stafford?
Yeah. And McVay, from his own admissions, will say he's not a patient person. And quarterback development, there's got to be a lot of perseverance in that. Think about Drake May. You know, he really, really struggled. Well, he didn't really struggle. He had ups and downs in his first season, and he had ups and downs in his second season, but fortuitously got himself in position into the Super Bowl. So he played in the Super Bowl. Yeah. I've already forgotten all this stuff. I was like questioning myself. I was like, Patriots made it. Yeah. God, I'm sorry.
It's okay.
Yeah,
I don't know what I did yesterday. So
yeah. I think this question has to be in their heads constantly for this draft. Now, whether the board falls to, you know, how they want it to go, that's the big question, you know. So we've seen this team move back, move up, or want to move up, you know. So
yeah. No, it's a good question to have, and I like that you played into the timeliness of what Louis Riddick is saying. You know, those guys know a thing or two about whatever it is they're talking about. They're on the phone. They're in touch with the guys in the front office for the Rams now. Are they like indicating what's going on? I don't know, but it's good to have touch points of what people are saying, what's out there, what are the media say. We'll never know. Like, did you see a tight end get drafted in the second round using their first pick? And I didn't see that one. I mean, we knew McVay wanted somebody tight end, you know, but I think it's a gamble. It's always a gamble. It's just been the Rams have done a very good job as of late picking guys up in the later rounds. But now they have 2 first rounders, and
it's a lot of power. With great power comes great responsibility, as we know from Spider-Man.
Nice man. If McVay was a superhero, which one would he be? Would he be a Spider-Man? Would he be a Superman? Would he be a?
I think he would be in the X-Men universe.
Oh, really?
I think so, because, you know, he's got a bit of a Wolverine to him, but he's much more charming and personable than Wolverine.
Yeah. Wolverine's a real brute. Yeah.
Yeah. Canadian. It's everything I know about Wolverine.
Wait. I think if McVay was a superhero, he would be probably Iron Man.
Oh, right? I like that. Yeah.
You know what I mean? Yeah. It's like, I imagine there's a lot. He's got some tech gadgets at his house, and you know what I mean? He's just kind of like always got somebody interested on speed dial.
So in my life, I get told I look like a lot of people, or I remind people of people. I don't know
Oh,
why. I just have one of those faces. It's like kind of like you can put
yeah.
anything on it. But one of
Yeah.
the celebrity ones I get is Robert Downey Jr. I think it's eyes, like this section.
Oh, yeah, it is. Because he's kind of got like a moodiness to him, like he's brooding, like he's serious, but then he can be really funny at times. I love Robert Downey Jr. He's a great actor. I think that's
Yeah.
a compliment.
I think so too, and I think that's a probably. Do you ever get anybody? Do you ever get a celebrity comp?
I have, it varies on like someone. Wait, was it you that said Tia Leone? Was that someone said Tia Leone?
No, but that's good.
Someone said young Tia Leone yesterday.
That's
and
good.
I was like, it's the jaw, it's the sharp jaw, it's the chiseled, like, I have heard, oh God, Miley Cyrus, I get occasionally. I'm like, is that just because I'm like animated and I don't know.
It's always a weird one, but that's a great place to end the show, I think.
I think so too.
So a disclaimer to everybody commenting who you've already commented, but we're just discussing this as a rumor.
Are people commenting? How do I?
Oh, no, not now. I'm just saying as of right now.
Okay. Got it.
Rumor Central. It's trying to, it's a good jumping off point to talk about, just a specific topic. So I'm sure you guys have already commented, and I appreciate that. And I appreciate you guys coming back and checking out the show as always. Really appreciate all your love. Couldn't do it without you. And we will see you soon. We're going to have a whole host. We're putting together a calendar. We're getting organized on this stuff.
We have to. It's going to be a huge off season. Listen, we're ready for you guys.
And we're ready for some growth too. So tell your friends, like, share, clip us, take us out of context, create some controversy. That's how the internet works, people. Get on it. But until we see you next time, appreciate all of you.
Hey, Ramley, thank you so much for hanging out with us and watching the Rams LAFB show. Quickly before you go, got to tell you about our friends over at Sleeper. It's the #1 sports app right now, and you've got to download it because it's got so many great features that I want to tell you about. Aside from season-long fantasy, which is the best in the business, they've also got live score trackers, in-game updates, plus the live chat where you can actually communicate with other users right on the app. But perhaps the best feature, at least that I like, is the daily fantasy feature or the live pick'em. Just pick 2 to 8 players across any sport, baseball, basketball, hockey, obviously football and our Rams. You're going to choose a player, just choose more or less. Matthew Stafford, more or less passing yards. Kyron Williams, more or less rushing yards, more or less touchdowns. 2 to 8, you can win real money. So when you go to make your first deposit, make sure you use our promo code RAMSLAFB, and Sleeper's going to give you a match bonus up to $100. So you deposit $100, they're going to give you $100 free. You're now sitting at $200. You put in $10, they're going to match you $10. You're now sitting at $20. But on top of that, right now, Sleeper is offering all new user signups a $20 free entry, no deposit required. Go sign up. You're automatically invested $20 straight from Sleeper. But you can stack that offer with that match bonus offer to add more money. Just make sure to use that promo code RAMSLAFB. Go check out Sleeper. Download it today. Tell them the guys at the Rams LAFB sent you. And as always, Ramley, thank you so much for making us a part of your day.
If you like the show, please take a moment to rate, review, and subscribe. It really does help the show to grow. Thank you for listening.